Hello and welcome to Talk a Good Gamers match preview of England against Iran at the FIFA World Cup. Yes, it's that preview where a Scotsman gives his opinion on the English football team. But since we're not there, it's the only chance I've got of getting involved. All right, Gonzo, are you looking forward to it, the World Cup?
I'm not. Yeah, sort of.
Liar, you're not really.
No, I'm not excited about it. No, I guess I'm not really looking forward to it. I couldn't care. I'm not dreading it, but I don't really care. I got to be perfectly honest with you. Forget all the politics and all the rest of it. Just the fact it's in the winter, I find it's sort of sucked the mood out of it. I like the summer stuff. I like the beer gardens and the big screens in the pub, and mates round for a barbecue, and we've got a whatever, even if it's here, setting the gazebo up in the garden, and as I say, firing up the barbecue, having a few people around with some beers. It's something, you feel better, you feel a bit happier in the summer, aren't you? So it's just nice and hot. Not we have to worry about that. We're cold. They're not cold at the World Cup. They're fried, basically, aren't they? So I think that maybe has an awful lot to do with it. Slap bang in the season. I don't like it, really.
Yeah, I feeling very underwhelmed, and it's not because Scotland's not there. I'm used to it. I've never been there when I've started to watch football, so it's fine. But usually coming up to the World Cup, it's been a few weeks since the football's just finished. You're starting to miss football now. The World Cup is here. Hello, festival of football. I rate the World Cup high. I always say it's the pinnacle of a player's career, playing for your country at the World Cup. And usually when the first game comes around, I'm usually buzzing for it, really looking forward to it. Arguably, I might be able to enjoy it more as a neutral, because I don't have my country's not there. I'm not keeping an eye out for how other countries are getting on, who we're going to face and stuff. I'm able to just watch all the games as a neutral and enjoy them. But even this one, it starts on Sunday. Tomorrow, we're recording this on Friday. I have to remind myself the World Cup starts on Sunday. It doesn't feel like it. There's nothing. Even when you go into the shops and stuff, there's nothing about the World Cup. Usually it's mental. Usually everything's World Cup focused. Get your snacks, get your barbecue stuff, get a new telly. Well, yeah, because someone just casually buys a new telly. But they really go for it. They go all in. You go in now, it's just Christmas stuff. They're not arsed about the World Cup at all. It's World Cup fever without the fever. There's nothing contagious. It's just completely just dead.
I hadn't thought about that, about the shops. That's a really good point.
It's just small stuff.
You're right. It's all Christmas stuff in the shops. And let's be fair, I mean, it's too early for Christmas. Do you know what I mean? These people that are, celebrating Christmas and stocking their shops up with Christmas stuff, it's too early for that. But I don't know. I was thinking about it. You normally get the cars and they've got the little clips where they got the flag on it. You open your window a little bit. You don't want to do that at the moment. It's a little bit too cold for that. So there's no flags on any cars at the moment,
Before I talk about the game itself, can England win it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
All right, let me change that. Will England win it?
Not a chance.
I deserve that. I answer questions like that as well. So I
I'm not being naughty to trip you up or anything. No, really good players. Okay, central defence maybe not, but really, really good players. England, wonderful midfield, some great attacking players as well. Good through the middle, good out wide, world class striker. If you keep the goals out, then fine, but there are some other mitigating factors as well, like the manager's a little bit defensive minded and stuff like that. And the centre back is definitely an issue. So rather than now being outstanding defenders, he might try and make the system counteract that, which is a real shame because there are so many options going forward, which would cause all manner of teams all sorts of problems. So some really good players England have got, but I just can't see it gets undone. Mancini was. We see this often at West Ham. Mancini was 15, 20 minutes ahead of him tactically, in the last important one. And to see England get done like they did against Hungary and by one player, the geezer, the big old lump with a ponytail against Hungary was just able to inflict too much damage on England. So it's hard to see that they'll win it.
I think you've got a decent chance, actually. I do. I think I expect you to be semi-finalists, probably. I'd be surprised if you didn't quite make it to the last four. There's some good countries now, though. I think from the previous World Cup to this World Cup, I think a few countries were going through almost like a transitional stage, and I think they've gone through that now, and now they're starting to get a bit better, likes of Spain and Germany. And I think they may benefit from that. And I think that's why England possibly had a slight advantage, if you like, at the Euros and the previous World Cup, because they've started theirs already. They'd got rid of the older players, the new players had come in. But I think you've definitely got a chance. Like you said, you've got the talent. It's just questions over the manager, really. Is he the manager? And I think if you had a better manager in charge, I think you'd be one of the real favourites. I'd sit here thinking, actually, I think England could do this, and it's the Southgate factor which stops me saying that. I look at some of the other countries and think, nah, fancy them ahead of England, but certainly semi-finalists for sure. Now, before we talk about Iran and England, it is day 10 of 12 of the Hammers Chat 12 Days of Christmas, and it's all about our Prince, the unsigned Prince. We've got Julian Dix, we've got Upton Park, we've got the celebration at Wembley. We've got the likes of Paolo Di Canio as well. Head on over there. There's lots to choose from. Click the print you want, add it to your basket. Discounted, it is automatically applied. 25% off all unsigned prints. If it says pre-order, don't worry. Go ahead with the purchase. That just means we don't have the physical stock because they're from Canning Town Line. However, I've spoken to Canning Town Line ahead of this, and he said, oh, don't worry, I'll get them to you in a day or two after you tell me what you need. So they'll be with you very, very soon. So head on over there, hammerschatstore.com, link in description, have a look at the prints. There's loads to choose from, and grab yourself one, 25% off them all. Right, Gonzo, do you know much about Iran?
No.
You're not going to make a joke like
I don't think I'll be making any jokes about Iran. I think that is. I was even going to say that's a minefield. I'm not even sure I can say that. I don't want to. I cannot say anything at all, and certainly no jokes about England's opposition.
I was going to say, though, do you know anything about Iran? You were going to say, well, I know you weren't walking. But
no, sorry, that's a good joke. Sorry, I missed it. You had to repeat it. I do apologise. That was a good one.
Iran are currently 20th in the FIFA World Rankings, which I'll be honest with you, surprised me. I don't know what I was expecting, but it certainly wasn't 20th. They're coached by, Gonzo, help me out with the pronunciation, is the former Manchester United assistant manager Carlos
Queiroz.
Yeah, there you go. That one. He's the manager of Iran. So they're all right. They've got a little bit of something going on there.
Might be allowed in Qatar.
They've won their qualifying group stage, achieving 25 points out of a possible 30, beating South Korea to top spot. And a couple of players you may recognise. Yakan Bash, who used to play for Brighton. He is one of the wingers for Iran, and also the striker is currently playing for Porto. Taremi. He is.
That's our phrase that pays sorted.
Right, shall we talk about England now?
Let's do it.
What team would you like to see? What's your?
I want to see England definitely, and Iran. Both of those are probably the two teams I'd like to see in this fixture. I think we probably will as well, Gio.
Number one, who would you like in goal?
I will say, Ramsdale.
Would you?
I would. I'm sick. Do you know what? One of my least favourite phrases in football is he's never let anyone down. Okay. Well, actually, Pickford's had some crap games, so let's get that right. And well, since when, at the elite level sport, did that become a criteria of not letting anyone down? You know what I mean? It's like a Formula One driver. Oh, well, he completed all the laps. Yeah, brilliant. But he's got to do it quickly. He's got to do it fast. No, look, I like Ramsdale. I think Ramsdale communicates well. I think he distributes well. I think I need a little bit of a freshen up. I like him. I think he carries bundles of personality, and I just think Pickford has been languishing down the arse end of the Premier League for far too long.
No, Pickford for me. I think he's a top keeper. I think, and it's not. He's never let England down. He's always excelled when playing in an England shirt. I think there's a big difference between the two of them. He's one of your best players at the Euros. Pickford, world class save after world class save. So I think he should be your keeper. Formation, Southgate likes to opt for a back three sometimes, but I don't care what Southgate's going to do. I want to know what you'd like to see.
4-2-3-1.
Yeah, I agree. So give us your back four.
I would play Luke Shaw at left back. I
agree. I mean, it's kind of the only option, isn't really?
Oh, wow, why would you just ask me for my team? Don't get all arsey with me when I start to give you my team. Bloody hell.
Southgate,
You're bitter about this, aren't you?
Why are you surprised?
It's been a while. Start. Bloody hell.
It's been 24 years. I'm getting a bit frustrated now.
No, fair enough. I think I would go with. I mean, this is tough. I've got to say, this is tough. I sort of almost want to put Connor Cody in there again because of his personality and stuff like that. But
this is a
he's struggling.
An X Factor competition.
It's I like it. Excellent. Really, really, really good. Anyway, but I'm not going to put him in there. I think John Stones has got to be in there. Because you know what? I think this is actually important that you have your big players in there and and players that play for big clubs as well. It makes the other, but for that reason, I'm not going to put Harry Maguire in there because I just think he's totally out of form. So I mean, I think sometimes it's tough. I might be inclined actually to put Ben White in there. Now I know he's been playing on the right side for a lot of the season with Arsenal, but again, he's another. I think he's a really good player, and I think he might his skill on the ball might lend itself to international football. I really do. He can bring the ball out, and those are two centre backs who are really really comfortable on the ball. And I think you've got a back line who are used to playing European football as well, and sort of Champions League players at big clubs. But I also think that Southgate does that too much. So I don't want him to do that all throughout. I think sometimes, players from lesser clubs like West Ham, players from lesser clubs, need a chance, not all about being a top four. So I think for that reason, Trippier, even though I don't play for a big club, I'd put Trippier in at right back. And I think it's better than Ben White. It's difficult. You can't play Trent Alexander-Arnold there because he's too much of a liability. He is brilliant, but too much of a liability. So yeah, I think my back four would be Trippier, Ben White, Stones and Shaw.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think Stones should be one of the first names on the team sheet, really. England's second best centre-back, so I think he has to play. I agree with Trippier right back as well, and then it's just a case of who plays next to John Stones, and I think Ben White is having a really good season. Like you said, the only problem is he's playing right back for Arsenal, but he's a centre-back by trade, and what he's doing at right back, he can easily do there. Get him in from the start, for the start of training, get him playing centre back because he has been brought over as to play in that position. And by the time the game comes round, by the time you're playing USA during the week as well, he'll be fine. He'll be up and running. So I think him and Stones should probably be a partnership. I imagine it'll be Maguire. And for what it's worth, I understand why Southgate's took Maguire because I think. Is he in form for Manchester United? No, he's not. But I think international form and sort of club football form are two different things as well. And I think it almost requires, at times, two different sets of traits. Maybe not ability, but in terms of what you're like as a person, sometimes is more important at international level than club level. And, it's been widely reported as to why Southgate includes certain people like Connor Cody, who may never play a minute in this tournament, but he's vital to what Southgate wants to get out of his group of players. And I think, so that would be my back four. I agree with you. So that leaves a midfield pairing of Declan Rice and Jude Bellingham.
Absolutely. And I think it's going to be a real coming of age for Jude Bellingham. Actually, I really think he could. So I think Rice is there. Rice already played in these high-profile games for England. I think Rice is established. He's already a first name on one of them on the team sheet for Gareth Southgate. Jude Bellingham. I would not be surprised at the end of this tournament to see Jude Bellingham being like team of the tournament or something like that. I rate him really, really highly, and it's a must. And you cannot have this situation. He gets labelled as a defensive manager, and he is a lot of the time. But particularly when you're taking on these, all right, all right, fine, they're 20th in the FIFA rankings. But you're going to start playing two defensive midfielders against Iran, then you might as well just forget it. Might as well not even bother turning up because we like to think that the Premier League is the best league in the world, and we've got all these wonderful players, and we've certainly got a bigger budget than any other league in the world. And then you go two defensive. No, put Declan Rice in front of the back four and allow Declan Rice to attack as well, by the way. Because let's be fair, four defenders should bloody cover it as far as I'm concerned. And then particularly Bellingham, let Bellingham do what he wants. You go full box to box with him, get in there, score some goals, create havoc. I think he's a wonderful player, Gio.
Yeah, I mean, while they won the group, Iran, if you go have a look at their actual group, they've got Iraq in there as well as Syria. It's not exactly like they're playing good established countries in order to win the group. I agree. It's got to be Rising Bellingham, and he's having a fantastic season with Dortmund as well. This season not long ago become the youngest ever, or the first English teenager to captain a side in the Champions League. A huge accomplishment.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
First English teenager to captain a side in the Champions League. Yeah, that's
Amazing.
right. So even before the big greats of English football, like Bellingham's done it before all them. So fantastic achievement. Harry Kane up front, obviously. So who's your three attacking midfielders? Because I think this is centre back's one dilemma, and I think this is where the other one is, because there's so many good players to choose from. Early team news for England is James Maddison's missed training again today, which is Friday, as well as yesterday on Thursday. So he's probably a small doubt for the game, but we're going to pretend he's fit for this preview, Gonzo. If you want to pick him. Who would your three attacking midfielders be?
Saka, Foden, and Grealish. But for this one.
Oh.
So yeah, but I understand there's no Sterling, there's no Mason Mount, which are big calls. But England, I was going to say,
well, that's what he's got to do, isn't he?
England are blessed in this area. Yeah. And let them go at it. And the wonderful thing is, if it ain't working out, make some subs. Get Sterling on there, get Mason Mount on, or Maddison, or whoever it may be. But I think in terms of, I think Foden is as good as anyone. I just do. I think technically he is as good as anyone. I thought he was already playing at a really high level, but playing alongside Haaland has sort of brought the best out of him as well. He's got some really good finishing now on him. He plays a pass. He's got the first touch. He's quick as well, actually. There's got a lot going for him. Saka's in great form, and even I saw a goal recently, such confidence. He finished it so well, high and firmly up into the top corner. I think that's really good if you can shoot not in the way they expected. When I was looking at him, I think the goalkeeper, everyone else expected him to hit it low and into the far post, but bang, no, it was high and up to the near post and things like that. Smacks of a player in confidence. So yeah, I think he has to be involved really. And Grealish, I just think at this level, the ability to carry the ball into the penalty box is huge. It is international football. Carry the ball into the penalty box, dribble it in there, and create something, or win a free kick, or win a penalty. It's massive, for that. And I think particularly on that left-hand side, there's no one else, almost the only player, there's no one else that can do what Grealish does in a whole squad that can carry the ball like him and draw the foul and commit defenders inside the box. Whereas I think actually funny, I think you could take Foden out and play Mason Mount there or something. I think there are other things you could do. I think you could play Maddison in there. I think you could take Saka out and play Sterling there. I think your net result they can do similar things. No one can do what Grealish does. And I know it's infuriating when West Ham play against him, because you think, he's cheating us and he's diving and all the rest of it. But to be able to win free kicks like that and travel with the ball is massively hurtful, because it drags players out of position. It creates space for other people. So that would be my team.
Saka, Mount, and Foden for myself, for the reasons you've given, really, including Foden. Sorry, Mount, including Mount. I can understand why anybody would pick any of those players, though, including Sterling. He's probably been one of England's most reliable players over the recent few years as well, and he's probably someone that's most likely to score out the players we've listed. If you told me someone scored, who is it? I would probably say Sterling would be my first guess there. Lots of options for Gareth Southgate. Let us know the team you would like to see in the comments below. Bit of pressure on England going into this one. Gonzo, are you confident?
For this game, yes. Yes, I am confident for this game. I'm confident for the group as well. It's a weird one, because some people are trying to drum up the game with Wales, which is the final game, the third game, the game of Wales. People are trying to drum up this rivalry, and there is a rivalry. Let's not pretend that there's not. But I was listening to the radio. As you know, I was doing a lot of driving on. It's not yesterday as we record this. I was doing some driving, and I had the radio on in the van, and Talk Sport was on, and it's almost they were trying to stir the pot. Apparently, Gabby Ogbonlahor, who is an atrocious pundit, by the way. Sorry, whatever he is, broadcaster, awful, 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 awful. And he had said that not a single Welsh player would get into the England team, which they would.
Squad.
That's not true. Did he say squad?
I think so. I think he said squad. I think you're saying, would you take Ben Davies? You wouldn't take Bale over anyone and stuff like that.
Well, funny enough, you would pay Ben Davies in the England team at left centre back. Exactly what you do. But anyway, that's another argument. But to say that, okay, that's one thing. But then really talk sport. Anyone Welsh, I think Hal Robson-Kanu came on and talked about saying, have you heard what Gabriel Bognahor said? And they were just trying to drum it up and really make something of it. And crikey, you know, you don't need to do that. It's a World Cup anyway, but people are going to make an awful lot of it. Would not be surprised if this group that it should be Wales and England that qualify from it. It really should. So this is the easiest game in the group. You've got to start off with a win. If you're of a certain vintage, you've seen plenty of times when England don't start off the group stage with a win, and it ain't good. It ain't good at all. You must win your first game.
Yeah, I'm confident you'll win as well. I don't know enough about Iran, but when I was looking through the players, like who they play for, which teams they represent, you know, after the two I've mentioned, the next one on the list would be the right back who plays for Zagreb at the minute. And you think, well, that's the quality at the minute individually. But as a team, they might be really good. I don't know. I think it'll be tough for you, though. I think the manager, Carlos, has got fantastic pedigree. He was a big part of Manchester United doing really well under Sir Alex. So they've got a really good manager there and somebody that was almost praised for the tactical side of Manchester United under Fergie. Was a large part of it was down to him as well. So they've got a good manager, and I think the manager's perhaps better than the players. But sometimes that is what makes the players play better than what they actually are. It makes them a really good team.
I think they got him back again, Geo, by the way. Wasn't he just good at Man United? Yeah. I think he went, and then they missed him so much. I think Fergie brought him back again. I think he did 2 stints there, I think.
Can I get your final words in your score prediction, please?
I think what I've got to say is I think the FA and Southgate have done really, really well in terms of their build-up for this, in terms of the way they are communicating with the press, in terms of the way they're trying to communicate with the fans, the way they're trying to drum up some support and drum up some interest. It's not their fault. It's not. It's FIFA's for putting the World Cup in the winter. All right, but they're trying their best to try and drum up. And you know what? I am apathetic towards it at the moment, but I'm pretty sure my interest will perk up a bit if West Ham, if England get through in the group.
That's how interested you are in it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not overly. I'm going to watch the games. We're going to be featuring the games on this channel. It's hard. It's hard to capture your passion that you have for your club, in this instance, West Ham, and apply it to the England football team. I think at the moment, and that's not because I lack a bit of national fervour. Patriotism. I don't, far from it. England just won the cricket. Oh mate, it was absolutely brilliant. And I mean, I'm jumping up and down. You know, and we play in the rugby. I absolutely love it. It's not the case at all. It's not that I've lost my patriotism or anything like that. It's just something about football, something the way FIFA have done things, which has sapped some of my interest in it, sapped a bit of my enthusiasm out of it, actually, for a lot of reasons. And they probably need to they won't take a cold hard look at themselves. But I'll tell you this now, if FIFA and UEFA don't sort themselves out and be better at what they do, then this European Breakaway League is, I know we're morphing into something else. Half of it's the club's greed, the owner's greed, right? They want to do this European breakaway. Half of it is that UEFA and FIFA are so incompetent that they're creating a vacuum. And whenever you create a vacuum, it's going to be filled. Their incompetence creates that vacuum. They're not, in terms of overseers of the international game, not just international game, in terms of the world game, they're barely fit for purpose. And it is it's like watching a really, really badly run business, you know, and it's really hard with terrible customer service and all the stuff. And I just think the whole thing has fed into quite a poor build up, which has sapped our excitement. Hopefully it happens. Hopefully England do go on. I'd love England to win the World Cup. I'd love England to win the World Cup. And before anyone asks, I would prefer West Ham to stay up and win the Conference League than England win the World Cup, because that will be a question that comes on. I'll just say it now. Nice and early, but I would love England to win the World Cup. That would be really good. I think we should beat Iran and 3-0.
I think England will go out to almost Southgate the game up a little bit, keep it tight, keep it boring, pass, make them surrender territory, which, given the conditions, the heat and whatever, and there's a lot of talk about how, you know, the journalists are reporting at how they're struggling over there with the heat and the players are struggling. The Welsh are moving training sessions around already to get out of the heat. I imagine it'll be quite a low-tempo game with the first game. I think Southgate will do that whole phrase, make the ball do the work rather than you do the work, make the ball do it, let them run after it kind of thing. So I think it'll be a boring game on Monday, but I think that's exactly what Southgate will want. And I actually think it's possibly what some countries, England being one of them, probably need, actually, where you do just keep the ball, keep it simple, and they're not there to entertain. At the end of the day, the World Cup isn't about entertainment. That's what FIFA and Qatar are supposed to be dealing with. Not very well, but that's their job. The people on the pitch, the teams, they're there to win the World Cup. That's what they're there to do. They're not there to entertain the people in the crowd. There's hardly going to be any England fans over there. They shouldn't care about the rules in the stadium. All they have to care about is winning that trophy at the end of the tournament. I think the best way to get off to the best start is by keeping it simple on Monday, reserving as much energy as possible, stay away from any injuries, and I think they'll win comfortably. I think it'll be England 2, Iran 0. But if you've enjoyed this preview, despite the Scotsman chatting away, please do drop a like on it. Subscribe new to Hammers Chat. As Gonzo said, we'll be featuring all the England games here on this channel. So we'll be back on Monday with the match review of the game straight away. As soon as that final whistle goes, we'll be live. We'll catch you then.